Talk to him.
All right, y'all. Thank y'all for joining We Talk Back TV. All right, so we have a special guest on today. It is actually my cousin, and the reason why I wanted to bring her on is y'all will be having these GoFundMe's every time someone passes away, someone's sick. That is just seems like to be the black way to handle things when it comes to healthcare and paying for death. And we all got to go up out of here, so we need to get in front of that. So I got my cousin Erin Corbett on, and she's a licensed insurance professional. She's been in the industry for almost 10 years, and she has a lot of experience, tons of experience, and she's literally helped me so much when it comes to my health insurance and my health care. So I wanted to have a conversation with her so we can get some knowledge for y'all on how to get on top of that so we can stop with this GoFundMe shit because it ain't working. Hey, Erin, girl. Thank you for joining us.
Hey, girl. Welcome to We Talk Back.
Yeah.
Glad for you guys to have me here today.
It's a family affair.
Absolutely.
I want to get some real information to our listeners that can help because, you know, I was out here running around here. Like, I know a lot of people, they use the emergency room as their only source of health care. Like, they wait till they almost half dead.
Right.
And they just go to the emergency room. And then they have these astronomical bills that they never plan to pay. Never. And, you know, that's just not the healthy way to do it. First, you tell everybody about yourself and your career.
Sure. So, again, my name is Erin Corbett. Like I said, I've been in the insurance industry almost 10 years. I do carry 3 licenses. So I do health, life, and supplementals. So basically, I work with everything that deals with whatever can happen to you while you're alive or after someone passes away.
Okay.
So life insurance is not just for the dead, y'all.
No, life
you
insurance is
can also
not
use
just
life
for the
insurance
dead.
while you're living.
For the living.
So how life insurance for the living? Because you don't get paid out till you
No,
dead.
that's not true. So let's talk about whole life insurance, for instance. In different ways people actually build wealth. We can start there. Build wealth from having life insurance policies. I think a lot of black people they miss that because they just don't know because they only think about life insurance when somebody dies.
That's correct. Life insurance, it's a tool for finance, right? Mm-hmm. Because if you buy whole life policies as you were speaking of, what it does is it generates your own source of a loan, right? Mm-hmm. And if there's different variations of life insurances, but let's say, for example, you have like a 20-pay life insurance. It'll be paid off in 20 years. Let's say it was $50,000, but you only put $20,000 in it. So if you started at 30, paid it off by 50, now you have $50,000 just sitting there for whatever you want. You can purchase a home with it and cash it out. You can use it to pay down debt if that's something that you had going on. Pay for children's college and different things like that. Start your own business, but it becomes your own source of money to borrow from, cash out, without taking out a loan that has interest, different things like that. So that is a way that they do use it to build wealth.
So, you know, we talk about reparations a lot, like black people. Oh, we need to get paid for slavery and this and the third. But I think that a lot of people don't have deliverables. Like, if we were to actually ask for reparations, what are some of the deliverables? And whole life insurance is one of the things I would ask for. We need whole life insurance, free tuition.
Well, when you say whole life insurance, what is like?
Because it's a tool to build wealth, right? Mm-hmm. So imagine if every black person, this is my one thought process for life insurance. There's not enough black people with life insurance. So we think about how like the police keep killing black people, right? If more black people had life insurance, the police would be less likely to kill us. There's just no repercussions for killing black people. They literally have a license to kill black people. And your family can't benefit from the death either because you don't have life insurance. If more black people had life insurance, it would probably be less police killings because the insurance companies going to start suing the police departments if they have to keep paying out on these loans.
Well,
on these policies, paying out on the policies, not the loans.
It could make higher risk rating, so it might just cost more for black people to get life insurance, right?
It costs more for us to live anyway.
Yes, but just to kind of touch on something that you said, I think that we just don't prepare or value certain things in the right way. When we talk about the difference between black people and other ethnicities, what they do is they prepare, right? Mm-hmm. So there's common conversations in a white household to have life insurance, to have short-term disability, to make sure they have these different policies like cancer policies, critical illness, just in case, right? Because the thing that happens is something's going to happen to you. When it's going to happen to you is what you don't know. And how do you prepare to not ruin everything that you built your whole life around? Your house, right? All the savings that you may have saved didn't go on vacations just to have this sitting here. How do you protect yourself in that way? And we just don't do a good job of that. We'll go buy $120 Jordans, $250 Jordans, the new Yeezys on the drop for $400 on a resale. And a policy like this in the right age range is about $20, $30 a month. You know, we just do not prepare in the right way. The way we spend our money is not for the right things. So when things do happen, we're ill prepared.
So let me ask you this. To get a life insurance policy, do you have to go get like a physical examination to see like what your health is in order to like be eligible?
Well, that actually depends on the amount that you want. It also depends on your health. So some policies are guaranteed issue, which means you don't have to go through a health exam. You just have to pass the underwriting questions or whatever they may be. When you start getting over a certain dollar amount, like $100,000, then there become more underwriting questions. And I know in our community, we like to say, I just got a little bit of diabetes, a little bit of high blood pressure, right?
Right.
But those are actually things that can knock you out or put you in a clause. And that clause could be 2-3 years, but God forbid you had a heart attack in that 2 or 3 years.
Then you don't get shit.
You just get the money that you paid into it.
Okay. So and that could be very small if you're saying it's something like $20, $30 a month.
Yes.
You're getting a check for $300, $400.
Absolutely.
Like
So how do you determine what type of life insurance policy you need? So if I'm 38,
Yeah.
right? No kids. At my age, what type of policy would you suggest?
At your age, I absolutely suggest a whole life because it's affordable for you. So the problem that happens is, you know, a lot of individuals start looking at these things at 50. Wrong move.
Right.
That's absolutely the wrong move. Age is your benefit. And with younger age, you also have better health. So you can get more coverage for cheaper. So whole life for sure. And then you also have to start thinking about like what are you trying to cover in the event that I'm not here. So if someone is a self-employed, has a business, you know, you should start to stack policies. And what I mean by stack policies, you should always have like a whole life policy as a base, but then have a term life that's high limit over it.
Right. Okay.
Because
So hold on, explain that in a way. So tell people like what is a term life mean like?
Sure. So let's go back. So a term life policy is a life policy that expires after a certain amount of time. So it's 10, 15, 20, 25 years, right? But with those type of policies, they bet on your life expectancy. So most people outlive those policies. So if you ever seen where your grandparents or aunties say, I had this policy, but it didn't pay out, and then they find out it's a term life. It happened a lot in the Black community, right? So they had all this insurance, and then they let it sit there for 20, 30, 40 years. So when they go to pass away and they feel like, oh, they have this policy, they realize it's only term life. And term life policies are cheap. It's more economical. So, yes, that's what the people go for. However, they never understand the fact that it's almost like a waste of money.
So they pay into this thing the whole time, and then when you try to draw, there's nothing there?
It ends at a certain amount of time.
Okay.
So you have to pull it out when it ends, or it just
There's no value in a term life policy. So what I was saying about stacking benefits, right? So say you have a young family, you know, you need $500,000, you know, that you want to leave to your family in the event that something happens between the age of 30 to 55. You can still have a whole life policy as a base in a certain amount, maybe say 100,000. But then you can get a higher level term life, which is cheaper to carry for $500K. So saying that in the event that I'm not here to take care of my kids' schooling, or I need this mortgage to be paid off if I'm not here, I don't want to leave it on my wife. That's what I mean by stacking policies, because it's going to expire. But what you want to do is be able to get, in the event that something happens in an age where you're going to leave your family or a business, you want to have both.
Got it.
Does that make sense?
I'm confused as fuck. So, all right, the whole life policy is the policy that you were saying that you can pull out of, and it's kind of like almost like an investment.
It's an investment, yes.
Right, but then the term life is the one that you would want to have just in case you die within that period?
Yeah, so say like your example 30, we'll use this. As we age, we know that you'd start to develop health issues, right? So let's just say someone got diagnosed with cancer at 45, right? They got 2 kids, one's in college, one's in high school, they're married, have a brand new home. Say this person doesn't make it through, right? That term life is actually good in that sense because a $500,000 policy is very expensive if it's a whole life. So it becomes about what you can actually
Your
afford.
whole life.
Right.
So that's older. The longer you live, it's good to have a whole life insurance.
Correct.
As opposed to term,
Well,
because it's shorter, right?
Right,
Let
but
me
if you died
explain.
at 45, was the whole life
So
necessary?
let me
'Cause your life was,
It's your whole
sure.
life. You died at 45.
but it ain't that whole. It's a half.
No, guys, hold on. Let me explain, right? Let me explain. Let me clarify really quick. So what I'm saying is, like, you should always have a whole life policy, right? That's your cash, that's your equity, that's your asset. But to afford a $500K whole life policy, it's a few thousand a month. You have to be in a certain tax bracket for that. Most average folk cannot afford that, right? But what they can afford maybe is 100,000, 150,000 whole life policy that they can have there. But let's say they have a $300,000 home, right? And they pass away at 45. Somebody has to pay that off still, right? So and that's why you put that term life on top, because what it's doing is carrying your bigger assets or debts. Let me say it correctly, debts that you may have to pay, right? If you have medical expenses that need to be paid off in a certain amount and you pass away within that time frame.
So if I die, knock on wood, my debt don't die with me.
Knock here, bitch.
Come here, so I can do it.
So for someone that's married, it doesn't. It goes to the spouse. Someone that's single, it is what it is. So that's why I said, especially when someone that's married with kids, you definitely want to put something over that because your spouse is now on the hook for everything that happened to you.
Right. Damn, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I saw a lady posting about a nigga who died and owed her $4,000. Did y'all see that? It was circulating like she was mad about it, and I was like,
Sue
"Damn,
his estate. Shit, it might just put a lien against. She couldn't put a lien against his estate.
No, if there was no document that said,
What if they had a document?
No, these were street niggas." She was like, "Give me some of that GoFundMe because I want my money back." That's how.
well,
it
girl,
was.
go
It
get
was-
your money then, but I
In
you know, pay me back in blood.
In the beginning, we were talking about how life insurance is not just for the dead. So we talked about the investment portion of it. What other benefits does life insurance provide for the living?
You can also borrow against it, right?
Aside from that, yes. Yeah,
So those are the two biggest leverages. It's just a financial tool in general, because when you think about, like, right now, if you had to go to the bank to borrow $10,000, you have to be at a certain tax bracket or monthly income for that at a maybe 25%, 24, 17% interest rate. I mean, it almost becomes a financial burden to even do that, even if you needed the money, right? But say you had, a life insurance, you can borrow that money from it, and the interest that's on it is like very minimal, like 0.01%. It doesn't do anything, and every time you make a payment, it's putting the money back into it, and it's something that you're going to maintain naturally because you want to have it. So it's just it's a leverage tool in all ways, if you can afford it, to have a whole life policy. Just as that backup, do a lot with it.
So let's say it's a listener and they're like, I wouldn't even know the first place to go to get a life insurance policy. What would they need to do? Like, how would they go navigate that?
Man, well, it depends, right? Because everybody's of different health and different means, like monetarily, right? So you should do your research, right? Unfortunately, somebody that does have pre-existing conditions, just know you're about to pay more, right?
What if your health changes after you get the policy? It doesn't matter?
That doesn't matter.
Okay.
But if you're coming in with pre-existing conditions, you are absolutely going to pay more no matter your age bracket. So say, for example, you're in your 30s and you have pre-existing conditions. This person that's healthy at 30 might pay $20, you might pay $60.
Right.
That's just how it goes. And typically that's going to have a clause. So God forbid if you pass within that clause, again, it's probably not going to be payable. So you just have to do your research. You also, too, you want to make sure that you know if you're gone, what you want to have paid off and what you want to do with that money. Because then you can say, I need this amount of money that I want to leave to cover me if I'm not here.
I'm so grateful for my mom because she literally is like one of them people. She got like a manila folder with her
Under the
policies, where the money at, how she wanted, like she already got her plots, all that stuff. One of my best friend just lost her mom, and her and her sister are having to cover the cost of her mom's funeral. Yeah. Which, you know, in death, I don't want to be a burden to anybody.
Nobody wants that burden. Right. But again, a lot of people in our community are faced with that. And you see GoFundMes and these different fundraisers, the church plates on the corner because Bobby just died. And again, it just goes back to that we just don't spend our money in the right way. You know, we'll go to the bar, buy $100 worth of drinks and still ain't got no life insurance, you know, or health insurance for that matter.
What is death insurance? Because that's the thing too, right?
It's burial.
Okay.
Funeral, burial insurance, which is still another form of life insurance, but it just only goes up to a certain amount, like $50,000.
Okay.
And as you age, that's the things that become only available for people if they didn't get it when they were young. They will only be able to get over a certain amount, maybe $40,000, $50,000 at the max.
You know, I wanted to, it's not really a company because I don't even know if it's legal or not, but door to door in the hood, like, hey, like, can I put life insurance on your son? I'll pay the premium and bust it down the middle when he dies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know.
This bitch is outreaching death.
But I think the problem would come in because this comes in families, right? One person is paying a policy, and everybody wondering where the money at when this person died. Did you help pay that policy at all? Why are you concerned about what they're doing with the money if you didn't help pay the policy?
Correct, but, you know, I think that when people die, I think it's just a poor feeling that people have in general that you should get something now this person's not here.
Right. So I want to assure that the niggas in the hood, kids are being taken care of, and somebody's benefiting from your death. You dying at 30 years old and no life insurance, but you got all these kids out here, and then somebody has to do GoFundMe or whatever. But what if there was someone? I feel like white people do that all the time. Remember those two old ladies?
So
who was killing homeless men and collecting the policies.
Let me tell you why.
I don't
want to kill him. I mean, Pookie gonna do what
well,
Pookie
I
do.
think it was something on Netflix about that. But let me tell you why that's illegal, because it's about insurable interests, right? So like
I don't know these niggas.
Yeah, if you don't know these niggas, then they be like, you don't know these niggas, so you can't get this
go
money.
Door to door, like I see your son
But
out
I paid
there.
I paid into the policy.
Doesn't matter.
Though.
It's all about insurable interest, right? So let me give you examples of people that you have insurable interest on. You would have insurable interest on your mom. You're her daughter, right? You and Tammy actually have insurable interests on each other because you guys have a business together, right? Let me tell you who you don't have insurable interest over.
Nobody else in here.
Right, nobody else in here.
This is my friend. He signed it. He let me sign it up. Like, why not?
Watch your back there.
So you
He can do the policy. He can do the policy and leave you as a beneficiary, but you cannot sign him up for a policy. It's illegal. It's all about insurable interest.
With him knowing I can do it, right? No?
No. It's all about insurable interest.
Okay.
So what about like these record labels? Like there's all these stories about record labels. Like
that's insurable interest.
The Gucci Man story, right?
Yeah.
And they said there was a life policy somewhere of a certain amount, and everybody was mad. The reason why he could do that,
Young Dolph,
or even Young Dolph, right? But the reason why Gucci Man could do that, because again, it goes back to the conversation we're just having, is insurable interest. Now, this artist is underneath me. I have invested in this person. This person is now my business. So if all the money I invest in this person shall pass away before I recoup my advances, then.
But wouldn't it be like a scheme to, get these rappers who have like a dark sound and get insurance policy on them, put their music out for a year, and then get them killed so you can get insurance for it, the money?
I mean, it could be, but I'm not thinking that far. But if we're gonna be honest,
But you know who is thinking that far? These motherfuckers right here. They way more cerebral than us. So anything they do, they really using their mind. Okay. When Aaliyah died, they said her uncle had some crazy ass policy on her when she's out of that plane.
Because
so
she's a business. Because
again,
again, these artists become a business, right? And so that's how Gucci Mane, I don't know the boy name that just died, I can't remember. He was able to do that because this person is now a business for him.
But is it written into their contracts, you think, that they may not know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
okay, so if it's insurable interest and you can write it into a contract without the person knowing
They
that
have
you're
to have
putting-
lawyers to vet these things. And if you're signing something without vetting it, and again, it makes sense. If I just invested $100,000 in you
and you die,
I'm going with wherever that debt comes from. Like, I'm still responsible for it. So yes,
Right.
I should have something that protects me in that event. It makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, it does.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It does. But it's just crazy
I can see how it could be a scam, though.
Exactly, and one record label in particular, which people say it's not a record label, it's just they have partnerships with these people. But Empire Records is one of those places where there's been so many different artists that have passed away.
Who's on Empire Records? I don't know.
Dolph was on there.
Okay.
Temptation.
A few of them that have passed away were all on. So
Well-
it's supposedly a distribution company, but they also have record deals with people. Right. So I'm giving you upfront money, right? And something happens to you. My life insurance policy on you is bigger than the money I gave you. Why not get you the fuck up out of
Because you
here?
gotta think, like, they also, yes, I gave you this amount, but I have to make a certain amount back, right? So they didn't just give these people money. They always gave them the money with the intent of making a certain amount.
Right.
So I'm sure
They
those
made something
policies
back.
match whatever they said they were supposed to make back or expected to make back if things went well. So it makes sense.
But I spent 100,000, but I expect to make $1 million.
What, ain't that how it go?
Yeah.
And you didn't make me $1 million, so let me go ahead and
Get you up out of here.
I mean, I hate to say it like that, but sorry that somebody passed away, but there's still expectations on the other side of that. So,
Unfortunately.
yeah.
Can we get into health insurance?
yes, please go on because I
Yeah.
pay $7 a month, and don't be hating.
I want to talk. I want to talk
doing it
about
right.
Obamacare.
Yeah.
So what?
7.
Obamacare. So there were a lot of people upset when Obamacare came out, and they felt like it was a problem for our American economy for that to happen. What are your thoughts on Affordable Health Care Act?
I think it's a great thing. Because if you guys remember, some of you guys remember, a little bit over 10 years ago, if you had pre-existing conditions, you didn't qualify for health insurance, right? So all these people with chronic illnesses like MS, for example, or lupus, God forbid you got diagnosed with cancer, you were now uninsurable for health care.
Right.
That's the biggest deal about the Affordable Care Act. It gave the opportunity for individuals to have insurance that actually needed the care.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, my mom, she passed away before there was anything like that, and she had a heart condition. She did not qualify for health insurance, so everything was out of pocket. So being in that type of situation and seeing firsthand somebody who could have benefited from that, because she couldn't even afford the prescriptions. They were like $100 a month, or more.
With 4 kids. Yeah.
4 kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's unfortunate.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that most countries, people act like America is just such this great place. In other countries, you got 18-year-olds that ride around in Lambos. That's just regular day-to-day business for them. America is not that fucking great. We do not have universal health care. We do have Obamacare now, or what is
It's called the Affordable Care
the
Act.
Affordable Care Act.
Yeah.
So the only thing I didn't like about the Affordable Care Act is where you were penalized for not having insurance on your taxes. Like you had to file.
Because it was forcing people to do something for themselves.
Right.
Because and the reason why is preventative health.
Some of those plans were not affordable.
Now it's not affordable, right? But go ahead and thank your former president for that. He broke a tax law, and so the insurance companies, because they're having a higher risk rate, and they have to up the money where they're getting it from, because now they have to insure these people. Before, they would just deny them. No cancer treatment for you, right? So they still have to recoup the money for spending on all these people that have different conditions. You know, a lot of our people have diabetes, right? That's a very expensive disease. And they have to cover these people when they did not have to do that. So, I mean, it makes sense, but, you know, even I'll give an example of my father, right? He was under the ACA. His job didn't have insurance. And anyway, he went into the hospital for AFib or whatever. His deductible was $2,500. He hit the deductible, but the bill was almost $40,000. Only thing he was required to pay was a $2,500 deductible. It has a benefit. And everything after that was paid for 100% underneath the Affordable Care Act. So absolutely is great, right? Because the number one debt that most of us carry is a medical debt.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not from credit cards, it's not from car notes, it's not from homes or student loans. It's actually medical debt. So this is helping people not get into medical debt.
I feel like as a whole, it's medical tyranny anyway. It's just like the doctor's office, the hospitals are overcharging insurance companies, so that's driving rates up and stuff like that. Like the amount you pay for healthcare in America, just like a simple procedure, you can go to another country and get the same procedure at half the price.
But will it be quality of care?
But let me,
some
and I'll
places.
speak to
Always.
that. I'll
Some
speak to
places.
that because when I was living in England, when I got diagnosed with my MS, and I was in the hospital there for 2 weeks, and it's free. But baby, that shit felt every bit of free. I was ready to come home and just take my chances there because they was feeding me the Rice Krispie treat cereal in the morning, but no rice. It wasn't the treats. It was just the rice. Bitch, I was like, get me the fuck out of here.
It was a dry.
It's just like the dry little rice pieces with like some water milk. I was like, is this breakfast? Is there no eggs and bacon in this motherfucker? Like, is it? And then it was like literally 6 of us, 6 beds lined up on one side and 6 beds lined up on the other side. And we're all in the same room.
Oh,
That's the
no,
healthcare
it sound like
you want?
tuberculosis to
All
me.
in the same room. And there was a woman across from me. It was an old white lady, and she said her name was Miss Showen, and I was Miss Bowen. So every now when they were coming in and hollering at people, she would be screaming for my medication, and I'd be like, "Bitch, that's my med. Stop." She's like, "I'm the white one." She kept saying she was the white one. But and then people would be in there moaning all night. It was just a miserable experience, and I think it's because it's free.
Yeah.
So it's just we got to find a balance, you know.
I think, you know, from a professional lens, I think there is a balance. I think people just make poor choices with the health insurance that they choose, right? So like,
It's confusing.
right.
And I think it's meant to be sometimes.
Yes.
No, think about what you need, right? Think about where you are with your health, with if something happens to you, what you were comfortable paying for. Like, really think about it before you go just sign up for a plan because it's $7. Because you know, like I'm just saying, like, I know that's typically the bottom level bronze plan and got a $10,000 deductible. Can you really
Oh, I
afford?
need to log in and look
Can
at
you
it.
really afford to pay that if something happens? No, and $10,000
I just feel like
is a long
insurance
way.
Like, what if? It's like, what if?
Yeah, you
just
right.
pay
You
into
listen.
this
You
thing,
pay for
what
your
if?
car insurance each month for years on a what if. You don't question it. It's the same thing.
Can you not? Okay, just like anything else, any other debt, I feel like everything in life is negotiable, right? So yes, I go to the doctor, I get this crazy ass bill. I can't call and negotiate this debt with the insurance company. I mean, not insurance company, but with the hospital, because I know they literally. I have some MD friends, right, and they tell me they overcharge, and then they negotiate it with the insurance company.
They do, but then
So why I can't do that
that's
as paid out of pocket.
but
type person?
that's on you. Like, so for example, I did that before, you know, where my insurance was not worth me filing it because I would pay more money. Like, I could pay $50 every time I went, or I could pay a battery of tests and it cost me $700 underneath my insurance. Sometimes you just got to ask more questions, right? You know, it's not always beneficial to file certain things underneath your health insurance if you have the cash to pay for it, right? But you also, again, going back to what I'm saying, instead of taking a cheap route, get you a quality plan that may cost you a little bit more money. And, you know, yes, you might have $1,000, $2,000 deductible, but that'll go quick. You don't want to be in a money pit of something that a $10,000 deductible, God forbid, that's surgeries, that's days in the hospital. that's prescriptions, and you still might not hit it, and you got to start over each year on that. It's just not worth it. So you should always think about that, weighing the benefits of paying a little bit more, but paying a little bit less on the back end. And I think that's where people mess up.
What is supplemental insurance?
Supplemental insurance is everything else, is what I call it. It's all your living benefits, right? So it's things that pay you while you're here. So it's more of like, God forbid you got diagnosed with a major condition. Say, for example, you had a heart attack, it might pay $20,000, $30,000 to you directly. And most of these people, they're eventually going to go back to work, right? But it helps cover medical expenses. It can go towards mortgages, rents, your daily expenses until you're able to go back. A lot of people that, have things happen do not have the appropriate savings to cover themselves.
So that Aflac insurance policy that you got me to get, is that a form of supplemental
It is a
insurance?
form of supplemental insurance.
Okay.
They have different types. So they have, accidental coverage, which will cover somebody if they're injured on or off the job. Typically, those coverages also have an accidental death benefit in it as well. So if someone died from an injury, that money is built into that type of policy, They got cancer coverages, so God forbid someone got diagnosed with cancer, you can be paid out for the treatments, for being diagnosed, everything like that.
So cancer coverage, you would get that after you get cancer?
Remember that pre-existing condition conversation?
Because it's weird to be like, hey, I'm going to get cancer coverage just in case. That's kind of weird.
And why does that even exist in America? I understand why. Okay, so I understand why it exists, because obviously people get cancer, right? But could you imagine them creating these cancers to then have to get insurance for it? It's just really weird.
You don't have to, but if you're smart, you would. Because
so you feel like all of us should just have a cancer coverage?
Absolutely. I have one. I don't have cancer history in my family, right? But being in the field that I am, I'm telling you guys, it's simple as I went to the doctor to go get my regular mammogram. You doing something that you would have done every time. They're like, oh, we see something here. You need to get into other testing. You get diagnosed that quick. You're not thinking of it. Somebody that had a heart attack did not think they was going to have a heart attack in the day that they had the heart attack. Yeah. You don't know what's going to happen.
That's why it's called insurance.
That's manifesting some bullshit. I don't want it.
or it's being preventative, and it's preparing yourself for whatever may come your way.
Right.
Again, something coming.
We just don't know what it is.
Yeah,
bitch, I'm about to be vegan. I'm on my way there.
You don't know where it is because there's
the food that's causing people to have all this cancer.
We can say that, but then you can think about all the buildings that had asbestos in it that we were in. Asbestos. I can't say it, but that. I went to the university I went to had
right.
What's the classrooms with asbestos in it?
Stuff, yeah.
And guess what? They wouldn't cut on the AC, but we were still in those classrooms, and that's
then you
major
should be able
cause
to
of cancer.
sue the school.
Probably, but
how you gonna prove? How you gonna prove?
Class action.
Yeah, class action is good and everything, but I got to get through this cancer treatment, hopefully, to make it to the class action suit. Like
this life is fucking stressful.
It is, but it's just being preventative. And to be quite honest, like the more I'm in this business, younger people are getting diagnosed. 30s.
Yes.
30s,
yes.
20s, passing away.
This year alone, I know so many people, and I don't know. Is it normal? Because we are getting old, right? But I just feel like dying in your 40s is fucking weird. How many people are dropping dead from strokes, heart attacks?
Well, they say we live differently than our parents did, so we actually do more.
We don't walk enough.
We're probably under more stress.
We do more at-risk behaviors as well. Yep. Than our parents did. Who would thought that?
I can't believe that they was smoking crack.
Yeah, but
crack really didn't kill people.
Yeah, it's this.
I know a lot of crackheads died of just cancer. Like they just ended up with cancer or something later on, but crack really didn't kill them.
No, it wasn't. But so yeah, we're at more risk. So
now meth. Your ass ain't living past 30, dog. Whatever age you start, you're going to be dead in a few years. If you don't
I don't even know what that caused, but I don't want none of it.
They start turning to a zombie after 6 months. Yeah. There's a photo. If you go Google, like, before and after meth, I remember I looked at this lady. They had, like, some pictures like this thing right here. Like, all the progression. This shit is fucking wild. Like, 6 months, you just start looking like somebody else.
Different. It's a sad thing.
Well, it got a lot of chemicals in it, like
What's
household
HMO
cleaners.
versus PPO?
HMO plans require you to stay in network, so everywhere that you go, it has to be referred. So typically, your referral comes from your primary care physician, and then they'll refer you if you need to go see whatever specialist or testing. It's referral based, but typically that's a cheaper plan because you don't have as much freedom just to go where you want to go, but it's still a good plan.
And then PPO is
It gives you freedom of choice if you want to
that's
go
more
in.
expensive.
Yes, typically. It lets you go in network, out of network on your own whim. But typically when you go out of network, still you're gonna pay more money, but it just gives you freedom of choice. So say there's a place that you want to go that may not be in your state or whatever. It just gives you freedom of choice for the care that you want.
I feel like low key sad right now.
Why?
With
Why,
some of the
bitch?
information. I don't know. I guess it just makes
This
you
is
aware.
important, though.
I mean, it's important, but it just makes you so aware of your own mortality when you think about these things.
Or if you think about it the right way, it makes you want to be as preventative as possible. You know, for me, I'm so comfortable with this conversation because I know at this point that I have what I need if something happens to me. I'm not a debt or a burden to anybody else, whether I'm here or not here. And that makes me feel good. It makes me feel like I did something right. And I did something that my parents didn't do, right? And, you know, that's the enjoyable part about being in this field. When someone walks away and say, you made me this so easy, you know. I was just so scared of insurance. I was so scared of this conversation. And you made it so easy. That's the joyful part of it.
So with that being said, how can people like who's listening like reach out to you? Like they need a liaison, they need someone to get information from. How can they contact you so you can help them further?
Sure. Reach out to me on my IG, Shawnee Rocket, SHAWNIEROCKET. DM me. I'm always open to answer your questions if you have concerns. I'm also licensed in 35 states. I can help you just about wherever you are. Even if it's just simple questions, right? Help you or your family navigate wherever you guys are trying to go. The biggest takeaway I want you guys to have is just be prepared, right? We spend money in all kinds of ways. We travel as much as we want to. And takes $100 a month and just break it up and get you a few extra policies.
So hold on, you can get a few policies with $100?
Yeah. I got a cancer policy, an accidental policy, a critical illness policy, and I pay about $98 a month.
See, that's affordable.
Yeah, I'm tripping.
Well, insurance is insurance. However, there are better companies than other on paying on their insurances. So, like, you always want to go with something that's reputable. So I'm licensed with Aflac, so that's who I
And that's all she gonna say because that's who pay her check. So don't ask her about nobody
Well,
else.
Aflac, that's a good one. But, you know, a lot of people in Georgia have it because their
Aflac.
home office is here. So it's very common in this state for Aflac, right? But there's other brands, like if you're looking for life insurance, like MetLife, they're very reputable. You'll be surprised that State Farm is very competitive on life insurance as well. That's where I got mine from, right? So just do your research, right? And that's what I say. And then there also are exchanges, right, where they'll be brokers for multiple
Between
carriers.
the same ones,
Yeah, so you can kind of shop around and say,
I
what's
feel like
in your-
they're all the same. Because even with the car insurance, like you go through one company, like I had Geico, but somehow I was talking to Progressive. They're like Geico is like a broker, basically.
Is
They're a
it?
broker, yeah.
Oh, girl, you don't tell me something because I ain't know. I didn't know that. Yeah, well, State Farm always runs on its own though. They just work differently, but they actually got like life insurance and stuff, like competitive rates, good policies. Like I thought I was gonna go with MetLife, and I called State Farm, and I was like, just talking to them, like, oh, we got life insurance. I was like, oh, you do? And come to find out, it was actually cheaper than MetLife.
I wonder if we can get a State Farm discount since we be doing commercials for their ad.
Right, period.
The discount is your age, baby.
The discount is your age, so start now, especially if you're younger. Get it in front
Yes,
of it.
please. This is the message. If you're young, if you're healthy,
Don't wait.
Do not wait. This is absolutely the best time to do it, and thank me later.
Period, y'all. So
All
hit her
right.
up.
Hold on. So we talked about that. That was good information. I'm sure people really enjoyed this episode because you dropped some jewels for them and for me. I need to add some more policies to. I have a few. Let me tell y'all, when I bought that policy from her, I just bought it on like.
I was like, I need one more sale to make this money. Yeah, she's like, I got you.
Yeah, that's how it went. It really wasn't even about my health, and I've been paying in it for years now.
For about three
or 4 years now. But I mean, now I feel like I need to add more after that information, and I know it's going to be probably more. It's probably going to be double for me, you know.
No.
With me having a pre-existing condition, it might be a little bit more.
Sometimes, but it depends on the underwriting, right? Mm-hmm. And that's sometimes why I say you got to do your research, because some policies may ask a question that another one won't, right? So, you know, I know how to navigate. Like, I wouldn't put somebody in a policy for $20,000 and I know they asked, did you just take chemotherapy? But I know I got this other one for $10,000 that don't ask.
Right.
Right? So.
Well, I'm going to get with you so you can hook it up. You know,
yeah,
we're going to get it together. But this episode would not be right if we didn't get a dumb bitch story from you. You know, we got to get a dumb bitch story. Yes. You thought it was just going to be healthcare and insurance, didn't you? No, we need a DB story from you.
Oh, my God.
Y'all not about to do this to me right now, kids, bitch. Hurry up.
Okay, so I was talking to this guy.
They always talking to some guy.
Right.
Go ahead.
I was talking to this guy, and he said, hey, come up here to see me. Mm-hmm. I said, okay.
Where's up here? Oh, well, you don't have to tell us.
It's not in the state that I lived in. Mm-hmm. So I went up there to see him, and he didn't answer the door.
He left you outside?
Outside.
Wait a minute. Okay, so how far did you travel? You have to tell us where, but how
you
far
drove or you flew?
did you travel for the date?
drove.
Okay.
I drove.
And how many hours was it?
6 hours.
Oh.
Had you been with him before?
Yes.
And he told you to come. Did you plan to come?
He asked me to come.
Yeah.
I don't just go anywhere. We don't do that. We were never that pressed, okay?
Right. Period. We were. Like, it's two of them.
We got to talk about me in third person, okay? Was never that pressed. But yes, did not answer the door.
Did you kick the door in?
I left a footprint on it.
I know you did.
I was trying to get it down.
Did y'all talk after that at any point? Did he hit you up with like an excuse?
No, he came and met me. He was like, long story short, had a girl there at some point. It was just trash. He went out. I guess he must have brought it back and forgot and got drunk. Like
he forgot what time you were going to get there.
Yeah. Oof. Yeah.
I remember that.
Yo, that was the most tragic stuff in my life. I said, ooh, girl.
Yeah.
I ain't never been like...
Play with like that.
No.
But that don't make you really a dumb bitch. Like, he's stupid.
Yeah.
Like, what?
Well, yeah, no, I'm dumb because I came up there with my gas, my money, my car, my hours. Like, yo, no, that was pretty stupid, so...
But you know what? A lot of the dumb bitch stories don't
No.
always make us the dumb bitch. It always typically be the other person in the story that's really the dumb bitch in the story, honestly.
Yeah, I talked
bitches
to him
aren't
after that, though, so I guess
necessary,
that'll make it a dumb...
Oh, you continue to fuck with him
for a little while.
Okay, see that be the part.
Right.
It be the aftermath that make you the dumb bitch. Because it's cool to be stupid, right? Mm-hmm. But when you become a habitual dumb bitch, when you just keep going with the shit, now that's when,
Just for a little while longer, and I let him ride in the wind.
We got to add that on. So how long did you continue to do the
Just
dumb bitch shit?
About a month or two after. Who's counting? Y'all, I look back at that time in my life, and I'm so glad.
Girl, middle finger to our old life, okay? Right. we out of the woods.
Ooh, child. You got me.
You weren't prepared for that.
No.
It's so funny because I told her, like, all right, this is what we're going to talk about, but you had to know that it was coming. You had to.
No, I didn't think I was going to have to provide that story today.
That's a good one. That's a little easy one. I feel like we can get another good one out you, though.
That was by far my most embarrassing one, y'all, because I was like...
Ain't nobody seen you, though. Who know? Now everybody know. Dumb bitch. Fuck you.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, everybody know now. Don't judge me, y'all.
Get the Cash App, ladies. Get the gas money up front.
Right. Well, Erin, I really appreciate you. This was very last minute, but this was a great episode. So thank you for coming on with us. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Y'all niggas got health care, life care in here?
Yeah, see, look. Dropping
You got your
jewels.
business card?
I don't.
Virtual business card?
Again, my IG is Shawnee Rocket. So SHAWNIEROCKET.
Hit
Hop
her up.
in the DMs.
So she can help y'all. She helped me for real.
We should do a challenge. We should do a life insurance challenge for the month of May.
You know what? For real. Get your stuff together, right?
Right. Get your shit together.
Well, we about to run your check up for the month of May. We need 10%, bitch. You know, let's be clear.
I might got some back end. You know, that ain't really illegal.
Right.
Or maybe.
But ultimately, we want to help people, you know.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
Make sure people are on the right end of that. Because I ain't got no more GoFundMe money for y'all. I really don't.
I don't never donate to GoFundMe anymore. Ever since when I had Salita, the old lady living with me. Paying for somebody to live with me out of my fucking pocket for over a year, and I put up a GoFundMe, and guess how much money I got?
What?
$100.
$251, and I gave it to her for her birthday. But my thing is, bitches can put up a GoFundMe because you went to, I don't know, Memorial Weekend with no fucking money and got stranded, and people donating to that stupid shit. But I can't find housing for one little old lady. So I don't fuck with people GoFundMe. So maybe fuck y'all with y'all GoFundMe.
You a little bitter. You probably should.
I am.
You didn't put
I
that
am.
thing on
But
IG
you know what?
right
You
away.
have a way about that because people
Maybe
we
because
pay into bullshit.
I donated to that GoFundMe, so it's crazy that you only got $251 because I think I gave at least $50 myself.
That's it.
That's tough.
So we pay into bullshit.
Yeah.
That's
you see,
another example.
But you see that $50 a month could have done. You would have had a policy.
Which, you know, I wanted to put life insurance on her, but she was, I waited too long. And I probably didn't have, what is it called? Insurable interest on her because she wasn't a family member. She was a stranger I met. But I wanted to try to get like a burial. This bitch is still out here. Let's be clear. She's still outside. And she's 86 now, though. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So she was 83 when I moved her in.
She could get a policy, but it won't be, she'll get a burial
Just
policy
a burial.
for $10,000.
Yeah.
Something small.
I feel like people should get cremated if they don't have policies, like, and which is what,
Cremation
about
still costs $7,000.
You still got to pay for it.
$7,000 for cremation.
Why we can't burn people in the backyard?
The state will put you in the pine box for free, though.
Matter of fact, they give you $250 a month. I mean, $250 if someone passed away without.
So I can turn a body in for $250. That's how much it's worth.
Yes.
Girl.
I mean, it's not worth it.
Listen, y'all, if y'all enjoy, hit it with the shit. We're not going there. Hit it with the shit, friend. It's time to go. See, anytime it start going to that dark place, I know it's time to end the.
I said too much.
All right, y'all know, bitch. We getting this check. Look, the dead check. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please tune in every Thursday on your iHeartRadio app or where the fuck you get your podcast at. This is your co-host, AJ Holiday 2.0 on Instagram. Y'all follow me now if you won't get on. What's up, Tam?
Y'all, it's official Tam, ma'am. I love y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. Remember, speak now.
And never hold your peace.
Deuces.